The last few weeks have felt like hell for me. By now, I believe you do know that I've been broke for a while. As if that isn't bad enough, my house rent is about to expire, and with no hope of any money coming in anytime soon, I'm definitely getting a quick notice. In summary, I'll be broke and homeless. With no help in sight, I am worried. But can worry solve my problem? No. As the days went by, I was falling into depression. I decided to leave the house for a while just to get the change of scenery and probably think or get inspiration on how to solve my money problems rather than staying home, continuously wallowing in self-pity. I walked into a shopping mall. While there, I bumped into an old friend. I was so excited to see him and I did not hide the fact, but the feeling was not mutual. I could tell by his cold response and body language when I called out to him in surprise and excitement. Oh well, maybe I'm wrong. Thing is, prior to this meeting, I've been trying to reach him on the phone, but never got through. After so many tries, I gave up. So imagine my surprise and excitement when I saw him. Anyway, I ignored the cold vibe I got from him and made small banter. I told him how glad I was to see him and how I had been trying to reach him but gave up when he was unreachable for a long time. I asked about his welfare and just tried to catch up on all that has been going on with him generally, but his responses were monosyllabic, cold, and had no content. At some point, I noticed he was not paying attention to anything I was saying, but kept responding with ums and ahs, just so to look like he was with me. I ignored that and carried on, talking like an excited child. At this point, I was just making conversation because it was getting embarrassing and awkward for me. He kept on looking at his watch. I took that as my cue to part ways before it became too awkward to bear. I was annoyed but kept calm and acted like everything was fine. I initiated the goodbye, then asked for a number I could reach him on. To my utmost shock and dismay, he said, "Look, as much as I would love to give you my number, it's not a good idea because it will be of no use to you. I'm a very busy man and certainly will not have time for trivial and inconsequential communication that will not add any value to my life. If you have anything important to discuss, call my personal assistant. He will pass the message to me." I was stunned. I was totally in shock for a few seconds. I could not hear anything going on around me. It felt like what you see in the movies, when things go in slow motion. What the hell? Let me give you a backstory. Ayomide and I were friends from way back. My friend's name is Ayomide. I knew him right from secondary school days. We were like blood brothers, very close and had each other's back. We did everything together and even went to the same university. He was 3 years ahead of me, but that did not affect our closeness. We looked out for each other, helped each other out financially when we needed to. People thought we were brothers. We trusted each other 100%. He left the university when I was in my second year and went for the National Youth Service Corps mission. Those were good times. We spoke about the future, his plans and steps to building a good life for himself. I had no doubt that he would be successful because if there was one smart person I knew, it was Ayomide. I trusted in his ability to make it great in life. But alas, life had a rude shock for both of us. After NYSC, the search for a job commenced. 1 month turned to 2 months, 2 into 6, and 6 months became a year. Ayomide gradually became withdrawn and sad. He ran out of money. I did all I could do to support him, even though I was a student. He would do the same for me if I were in his shoes, or so I believed. One fateful day, I was scrolling through contacts on my phone, looking for who to talk to. I do this when I'm bored. I came across the number of one of my older friends and rang him. We spoke for a long time and it was a good conversation. Before the call ended, he said, "I hope you're done with school now. There is a job vacancy which I think you would do well in if you got it. As a matter of fact, it is yours if you want it." I told him I wasn't done yet. I asked about the job. He told me it was a role in one of the top tech companies around, good salary and benefits. It will require a lot of traveling, which will give you good networking opportunities. He said he would have left his present job for this opening, but they needed someone younger for the role. The opportunity sounded so good to miss, even though I was still in school and could not take the job. I did not want to miss this opportunity. That's when my mind went to Ayomide. This would be a welcome break for him. So I told my friend again that I was still in school but I knew someone who is very qualified for the role. I told him about Ayomide and how bright he is. He was reluctant to put Ayomide forward for the job, being that he did not know him personally. But I convinced him to give it a try. He eventually agreed, but asked why I pushed so hard for this so-called friend, being that it's been a while he had seen such act of kindness. I explained to him how I and Ayomide used to look out for each other and how life has dealt him a hard hand. He said okay and asked that Ayomide send his resume to him and I should ask him to call to follow up. As we expected, Ayomide got the job. We were both happy and excited. The money started coming in, things turned around for good as expected. But with the money came the distance between Ayomide and I. I thought nothing of it at first, because I knew his job was quite demanding. He was hardly around, he moved from one country to another. After a while, I noticed that when I called, he sounded like I was a bother. The communication was one-sided, with me always initiating the call and getting a cold response. After a while, he stopped taking my calls, and I did not hear from him either. I too got tired and stopped calling. At this point, I was in my final year in the university, a crucial period of my life. But life decided to throw me a bad curve when I needed all the break I could get. Now, back to where I was. Ayomide's behavior towards me at the mall that day was shocking to say the least. When I recovered from the shock, I said, "Ayomide, it's me, your brother." Oh. He then turned to me and said, "Look, John, I appreciate all you've done for me. But you and I are different people now. We have different ideologies and share almost nothing in common. I would advise that you focus on finishing school. If you have not finished, then try to get a better life for yourself. In life, we need to be able to bring something to the table in our relationships with people, be it friends or family. As it stands, what can you say you can really do to add value to my life? There is no point in wasting time in a friendship that will not yield any benefit." I felt like I was stabbed many times. I couldn't respond to him because I felt dead on the inside. After saying this, he walked away. I stood there for almost an hour, trying to process what had just happened. I used to believe that the world is round, and the good you do for others will always bring back good to you. But I was wrong. I was so wrong.